everyone, today for you guys I'm going to be going over my collection of MAC eyeshadows. I'm doing this because I know MAC eyeshadows are really popular here on YouTube, and I find MAC eyeshadows to be very sort of like hit and miss. For the most part, I think they're pretty good, but when they're bad, they're really bad, especially considering the price point. And I think with MAC eyeshadows, since they're used so much in the YouTube beauty community, people are just really interested in them and want to know what's worth buying and what's not. I want to mention, by the way, that I do not have a MAC store or like a MAC counter where I live, so all this has been like online purchases, which is why some of these don't really work for me. Obviously, if I was able to swatch these in like a counter and a store, it might be a little bit different. So for my experience, it's really hard for me to find MAC eyeshadows and buy ones that I think will be good, because I just sort of had to go off of swatches that I've seen online. So I'm just going to get started with my MAC Eyeshadow Singles and then move on into my palette. So the first MAC shadow that I want to talk about is MAC's Steamy, and this is just a really pretty green that sort of has a blue duochrome-ness to it. It's really gorgeous, super soft, really pigmented. I think it is definitely one of the better shadows that MAC do. It's what I'm wearing on my eyes today, sort of for that little pop of green I have going on my eyelids. Really pretty, super smooth and pigmented. If you want a green eyeshadow with a little bit of a twist, I definitely would go for this one. It's definitely worth your money. The other shadow that I have is sort of the opposite of that, and this is MAC's Tilt, and this is a really pretty sort of sky blue color with a little bit of a green duochrome. It's sort of, like I said, the opposite of MAC's Steamy. Again, really nice with the pigmentation. I believe that this has a frost finish, and by the way, Steamy was a frost as well. So really pretty, nice sort of duochrome shade that I definitely get good use out of. It's great for sort of that pop underneath your lower lash line. If you're just wanting to throw in like a blue duochrome green shadow into your makeup look, this is definitely the best that I've tried. The next shadow that I have is a very popular neutral, and this is MAC's All That Glitters. It's a Volux Pearl, which I find is a pretty good finish all around. All That Glitters is just a really great staple shade. If you want a sort of sandy champagne, this is absolutely perfect. It's great just for all over your lid. Freshman year, this is what I wore pretty much religiously because it was just the perfect like everyday champagne shade. Added a little bit of definition, sort of made me look more put together, but wasn't too much. So really great eyeshadow. I would definitely recommend that. The next shade that I have is one of my favorites from MAC, and this is Beautiful Iris, another Volux Pearl. This is a really unique shade because it's like a pretty blue sort of lavender shade that has a slight sort of pink shift to it, and while it is kind of sheer, it still is pigmented. It's really hard to describe, but you can kind of see here from the swatch. You can definitely build it up. If you put it over a darker purple or like a black base, it looks gorgeous, and if you just put it over like a lavender base, it really pops. I think that it's one of the more like sort of unsung heroes of the MAC eyeshadow world. Definitely my favorite purple out of all the purple eyeshadows that I've ever tried, MAC or not. It's gorgeous, and I definitely highly recommend that one. The next eyeshadow is Parfait Amour, and this is another frost finish. This is another really interesting shade. It's sort of like a bluish purple that has another sort of like, again, that pink shift. It's just a little bit more of like that cornflower type of purple. Kind of similar to Beautiful Iris, just a lot darker, a lot more rich, and more blue toned. Really pretty color. It's definitely one of the better ones that MAC does again. I just think it's really gorgeous. Definitely, if you like bluer tone purples, that is one for you. Now the next purple is one that I am not a huge fan of. It is MAC's Satellite Dreams, and this is again another Volux Pearl finish. I just feel like this shade kind of goes muddy on the eyelids. I don't know why, but I think it's because it's sort of like a mid-tone purple, has a lot of pink to it, and just sort of has like this tiny hint of brown that I find when I put it, at least on my eyes, it just sort of looks sort of murky. It doesn't look as vibrant as I'd like it to be. So one of the misses, personally for me, I just find that it's not as pigmented as I was like, and the color is just weird. It's just sort of a weird color. I don't know. I would personally skip that one. Definitely go for Parfait Amour or Beautiful Iris over Satellite Dreams. Again, it's just about preference. Moving on to my MAC eyeshadow palette. Unfortunately, these do not have the finish on the back of them, so I'm not going to be able to tell you guys like with the singles what exact finish they are, but I will describe the finish at least to my abilities. So the first one here that I have is Soft Brown, and Soft Brown is like a light maybe sort of mid-tone orange toned brown. It's really pretty. I believe that this is a matte shade from MAC. This is a very popular color. It's one of those that if you want a shade to sort of blend out your eyeshadows with or sort of go into that transitional zone, it's really, really gorgeous. I would recommend this to people with warmer, sort of deeper skin tones. On me, it can kind of look a little bit too orange, which is why I'm not a huge fan of it and why I don't wear it a whole lot. It just, that orange tone on my fair skin is very, very strong. So for me, I'd more recommend something like Wedge, or if you're sort of like a fair skin tone. But if you are darker, this is a beautiful blending shade. The next shade that I have is Cork, and this shade is very similar in tone to soft brown. It's sort of that light mid-tone brown. This is just very neutral. It's not very warm and it's not very cool. Just a neutral mid-tone brown. Great staple color. You will get a lot of use out of this color if you own it, because everybody can do a neutral brown shadow. Whether you're cool toned, warm toned, fair, medium, dark, it's just a really great shade. I definitely recommend Cork. And by the way, that has sort of like a matte finish to it. The next shade that I have is Coquette, and this is a great sort of shade if you're cooler. I feel like soft brown, Cork, and Coquette are all kind of the same shade. They just have a slightly different tone. Soft brown's warm, Cork is neutral, and Coquette is just gray and sort of cooler toned. I know that this is a very popular shade that people like to use in their eyebrows, so if you're looking for a taupier brown shade to put in your eyebrows, this is really gorgeous. Really smooth, nice matte texture, really pretty, and if that's a shade that you think you'd get a lot of use of, I'd highly recommend it. I don't use it as much as I thought I would use it, but I still really like having it. The next shade that I have is MAC's Jest, and this is like a peachy, icy pink shade. It's really, really pretty. Definitely is very frosty. I do believe that this is a frost finish. If you find that Naked Lunch is just not as peachy, or just kind of pulls a little bit too white, or you just doesn't have enough like peachy color for you, I would definitely recommend Jest. I know a lot of people tend to prefer Jest over Naked Lunch. Really pretty. I mean, again, it's one of those shades I don't use as much as I'd like, but I definitely like having it, and I think that for medium skin tones, it'd be a nice alternative to Naked Lunch. The next shade that I have is Beauty Marked, and this is by far my least favorite color from MAC. I think that it is just horrendous. It's one of my least favorite eyeshadows in general. As you can see, it's patchy. It does not have any pigmentation. That beautiful sort of red shift that it has does not show up at all. Wet n Wild has a color very similar in a few of their palettes. There's just different alternatives to Beauty Marked that I think are way, way better. So Beauty Marked is one that I'd skip altogether. It's just horrible. I would not recommend it to anyone. The next shade that I have here is MAC's Hoax, and this is like a pinky, purpley mid-tone color. Again, kind of along the same lines shade-wise as Soft Brown, Cork, and Coquette, but it has a lot of plum and purple tones. Really pretty, really similar to like Tease from the Urban Decay Naked 2 palette. Also very similar to Quarry from MAC. I've seen the two swatched side by side and they do look very similar. Really pretty if you like sort of that pinky purple, if you wear a lot of pinks or if you wear a lot of purple sort of smoky eyes. It's perfect to blend those shades out. It is a really, really nice shade. It's really smooth, really pigmented, and I do like. The next shade that I have is Shroom, and this is one of my personal favorite highlighting shades. It's a beautiful sort of light, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just that perfect sort of creamy, sheeny highlight shade. Really, really pretty. I would definitely recommend this because it's not as stark as something like MAC's Plouf, or I don't know, there's just some highlighting shades out there that are almost too shiny. This has that perfect amount of shininess where it just catches the light beautifully and looks really, really wonderful. The next shade that I have is Expensive Pink, and I would really recommend this shade for medium or darker skin tones. On my fair skin, again, that orange just sort of pulls up too much, and I think that it looks kind of strange, but on medium, tanner skin tones, this would be gorgeous. It's a really pretty frosty, peachy pink coral shade. I know that Makeup Geek does a shade very, very similar to this, so if you're not wanting to spend the money, maybe look into the Makeup Geek version, but yeah, I would really recommend it for tan, medium skin tones. I think it would look absolutely gorgeous, especially if you have brown or blue eyes. The next shade that I have is MAC Swish, and this is just one of those shades where I don't even know what I was thinking when I got it. It's just a frosty pink. It looks really terrible. It's very sort of 80s and outdated. I don't use it at all, so personally, I would not recommend recommend it unless you feel like you want a frosty pink, because it is a really nice frosty pink shade. It's just one that I like never use. So personally for me, it was sort of a bust, but if you think that it's a shade you get lots of use out of, definitely go for it. The next shade that I have is MAC's Shale, and this is a gorgeous sort of plummy taupe. It definitely has a lot more of a plum tone to it though. Really purpley and pretty, smooth, pigmented. It's got a perfect sort of satin finish and just looks absolutely stunning. Perfect for like that Kate Middleton type of look. I really, really like that. The next shade is MAC's Patina, and this is one of my favorite shades from MAC. Probably out of all the colors I own, this is my most used. It's a beautiful khaki gold brown. It looks gorgeous all over the lid with Urban Decay's Buck blended into the crease. Really, really pretty. Definitely recommend that. Lots of pigmentation, and I think it would be flattering on multiple skin tones. And then the next shade is MAC's Satin Taupe, and this is kind of similar to Shale. It's just a little bit more gray and taupey and a little bit deeper. So really, really pretty in the crease. Everybody knows MAC's Satin Taupe. Very popular shade. If you do not own it, I definitely recommend it. It's just a really good one of those staple shades that you can use with something like MAC's Patina. I really love using Patina on the lid and then Satin Taupe in the crease, but also with stuff like Just and Naked Lunch. Just beautiful with champagnes, and it looks really, really gorgeous in the crease. So yeah, Satin Taupe is a beautiful shade to have because it's really transitional from day to night. If you like smoky looks, it's perfect. If you like more daytime and perfect looks, it's perfect. Really, really great shade to have. So yes, that completes my MAC eyeshadow collection of good array of colors and neutrals. I'm definitely continuing to build up this collection. As far as like my overall thoughts on MAC shadows go, like I said, they're very hit and miss. I don't think that they're the best quality eyeshadows out there. I definitely have tried other shadows from different brands that I think are better. Lorac does beautiful eyeshadows. Urban Decay, I think, beats MAC by a mile. Overall, I just think that if you're wanting to splurge on a higher end eyeshadow, definitely look into like Urban Decay. They're probably my favorite as far as high end eyeshadow go. But again, like I said, Lorac, Too Faced, there's just certain brands that I think do eyeshadows better as a whole than MAC does. I hope you guys found this helpful, and I will talk to you guys later. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and have a great day. Bye-bye.